So, are there any keys to effective B2B marketing in your opinion?
There are definitely some best practices that we've learned along the way. One is great storytelling. I think, it is a long lost art that many of us have forgotten about in technology. We talk a lot about cool numbers and stats and, as we call it, speeds and feeds and all of that. But really what technology buyers care about are, what is this technology going to do for my business?
Okay, well, I'm Hank Blank, and I'm pleased to be here today with Jennifer Baier Anaya, who is Vice President of Marketing for North America for Ingram Micro. Hello, Jennifer. How are you?
Hi, Hank. I'm great. Thank you.
We've met in the past. I think it was at Rika's Bear years
Yes.
and years and years ago.
Absolutely.
Thanks for agreeing to be on this OC podcast series. And I wanted to have somebody from the technology sector on the podcast because obviously Orange County is such a hotbed of technology.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of agencies I know in Orange County that work in the B2B space. Now, I know that Ingram, let's talk a little bit about the company. You sent me this terrific infographic, which says big, 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 big. And I was really surprised with some of these figures. 42 billion in revenue.
Yes.
Over 20,000 employees, sales in 160 countries. That's pretty amazing. And you ship over 500 million units a year. UPS must love you.
They do. Yes, FedEx, they all do.
They all do,
Yeah, we keep them busy.
I bet. So you currently are VP Americas, which includes Canada, the United States, Latin America, and you have marketing globally for the Technology Solutions Unit, and you have responsibility for branding and marketing communications. Seems like a huge job.
It is. It's
Seems
a fun
like
job.
too big for one person to do all of that,
Oh, trust me, I have an amazing team, and that's what matters, is having the right people.
So how big is your department?
We've got, just in our U.S. business, we have almost 200 people.
Wow.
That span across 3 different offices.
Here?
Here, Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Scottsdale, Arizona.
Wow.
We have some folks in the field that are spread out, and then we've got folks in Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, in Toronto. Mississauga is where our Canadian headquarter office is.
My hometown, Toronto.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
It's a great city.
It is a great city.
Yeah, bad traffic though. It makes LA look really quiet,
But
actually.
you can take the subway.
Yeah, that's true. Unlike LA.
Yeah. So, you know what? Let's start a little bit too with your career path. I know you went to USC, like Tori here, and was shooting the videos for Spark House, and is the founder of Spark House. And I know it's a small world because Tori's previous partner, Brandon Campbell, is now at Ingram.
He is,
And
yeah.
his wife, Ollie, used to be an intern for me.
Yep.
And they're all here. So you started your career in PR, and then you transitioned to marketing. So do you want to kind of share a little bit about your journey?
Sure, yeah. It was a journey. That's a great word.
Yes, they always are.
I started, my first job out of college was with K-Swiss, the tennis shoe company.
Oh, wow.
And I had the fortune of being there while the company went public. And that was a wild ride. I got to learn a lot and work closely with the CFO and the CEO in that process. And I transitioned into more of a field role and lived in Cincinnati, Ohio for about 6 years, and then actually went in to work with some agencies there. Got to work with Procter & Gamble a little bit and some other local Cincinnati firms, food service company. So I had some diversity in my experience, and then came back here to Southern California and jumped into technology at that point. So that was in about 96, 97.
What was the appeal of technology for you? Because that must have been a man's world then.
I don't know. I just, I had met some really great people networking. You're a pro at that, and a big proponent of that. And there was a position that was open at an agency that supported Toshiba at the time.
Oh, wow.
And so I did a stint there and then jumped into full-time role at New Horizons Computer Learning Centers, which was based here in Santa Ana at the time,
I
headquarters.
remember them. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still around?
They are still around. They were a publicly traded company, I think. They went back to be private company, franchise computer training services.
Well,
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, you tell me a little bit, you're obviously B2B marketing. So are there any keys to effective B2B marketing in your opinion?
Wow. Keys. I would say that, there are definitely some best practices that we've learned along the way. One is great storytelling. I think, it is a long lost art that many of us have forgotten about in technology. We talk a lot about cool numbers and stats and, as we call it, speeds and feeds and all of that. But really what technology buyers care about are, what is this technology going to do for my business?
So are the stories about testimonials, or can you elaborate a little bit, or can you share some?
Absolutely. They're really about a lot of different things. So, just like in any business, and I think another sort of best practice is relationship building and really understanding how to connect the right people together. But the stories are about, what the technology can do for that business and what the outcome of that technology should be. So what will it create for that business, or what will it make easier, either a whole function of a company like customer service and automating certain parts of it, or making that company more competitive because their customers are going to have a better customer experience when they work with them. What is it that a company should expect when they buy that technology solution? There's other stories too that we do around how our customers, and we call them partners, how they play a role in that technology and creating credibility and trust around how that technology is implemented, and then ultimately, how it's maintained and used. So, because not a lot of people really understand the technology, it can kind of be a lot of smoke and mirrors until you really understand who's behind it, what's behind it, and then what you need to expect from it.
So do you do a lot of content, obviously content marketing, right?
Yeah.
Are they just really white papers that you used to do and now you call them content marketing, or are they different?
No. I mean, would you sit down and read a 42-page white paper?
Never.
No. Not even the most technical people would read 42
Not even the biggest geek?
paper.
They don't have 20 of those? They take on a flight to Buffalo?
No.
I want to read this.
No, I'd say it's really true storytelling. Blogging, vlogging. We use a lot of video content. There's some great, kind of how-to types of things that we play around with. We've even used Instagram on some of our content marketing, and it's played really well too.
Really?
Yeah.
Instagram would have never guessed.
Yeah.
Would have never guessed in
Yeah.
B2B and with
Absolutely.
your target. So I know that you have an in-house agency. I think I know the creative director, you and Pigeon.
Yes.
And how big is that agency?
Well, I guess in revenue, if you were to sort of scope it out, we're just over 80 million size. And we do lots and lots of projects we help a lot of our customers rebrand themselves. So if you think, back a couple years ago, customers in the technology space that were sort of in between the companies that make the technology and then the companies that are obviously buying it, they would really sort of show themselves as the technology that they're delivering. So I'm the Microsoft expert, I'm the Cisco expert or IBM expert. And it's been the last probably 3 to 4 years where they really found that they need to have a brand and an identity of who they are and what they're about and what they can do to help that company, again, really use that technology and get the outcome they should expect. So we've helped them completely holistically rebrand their companies, and even in some cases just take their logo that was maybe done in the 80s and bring it up to a more modern look. With some more messaging and storytelling around who they are and what they're about. So we do a lot of that work. And then alternatively, we do similar type of work for a lot of the big manufacturers that you've heard of who need to connect better with the many sales channels that they work with. So they do amazing job in marketing to us as consumers. They do a great job in marketing internally, but they have these sales channels that need to also be an extension or what we call a force multiplier to their company. And they need to understand why they need to connect with that company and then how their own expertise reflects on what that company can then deliver down into.
So your customers, as I understand, are VARs, right? What is a VAR? You know?
Oh yeah, so we have lots of acronyms in our world. Technologists love acronyms. So yeah, there's VAR, there's value-added reseller is VAR. Mm-hmm. We have solution providers. We have service providers. We have independent software vendors, ISVs. I mean, we could go, I could sit here for 10 minutes and rattle them all off. But the point is there are experts who do different things as part of how that technology either gets integrated in or how it gets implemented down into a company. And so what Ingram does really very, very well is we'll partner a lot of them together so that then when they're together as a group, they can deliver the whole solution. So we have a community that is expert at that. It's called TrustX Alliance. It's a global community of these customers and all these acronym-like companies that when they partner together, then they can go to a company and deliver either a full customer experience solution end-to-end or a full network and security design. And so it's Ingram's role is really to help find the right folks for that, partner them together, and then help them go to market.
Wow. So how many people are in that agency? Because I know in Orange County, Booklist, it's the 5th largest, you know, that floored me, you know.
Yeah, well, that would be the 200-ish folks that I was mentioning earlier that are formally a part of that. We do have other folks around the world that play different roles within the agency as well.
Wow.
But for the most part, most of them are based here in Orange County.
Terrific.
Yeah.
So was it done really, most people, and I know other companies that have in-house agencies, obviously, and it was done for money savings? Was it was that the motivation, or did you feel that you had a special skill that you couldn't get from an agency?
It's a couple of reasons. I would say that, you know, one, being a distributor of technology, there's a lot of roles that we play within this industry, and I'd say we're really a business partner. So I'll kind of back it up a sec just to put some perspective. We're a bank. You know, we provide a tremendous amount of capital. I think the number that's in that stat sheet is $5 billion of capital that helps to finance these companies, whether we're partnering them together to go to market or these big companies looking for partners to take their technology to market. We also provide a lot of technical support and resources. So marketing was just a natural extension of what we could do as a business partner to these companies. And like I said, in the last 3 to 4 years, it's become just really incumbent upon those companies to brand themselves, to put some better storytelling around who they are and what they do. So we just saw a natural connection with that. And our tagline with Agency Ingram Micro is the tech world through creative eyes. Ewan actually helped coin that.
Wow, great.
And it's because we sit in the midst of all this technology and all these companies, and we understand those acronyms. So, you know, a company can hire us in this space, and we don't have to spend a lot of time getting up to speed. We're there.
Yeah.
We just need to spend time understanding who they are, what they need from us, and then how we can help them take that project to where they want it to go.
Now, but do you also have, do you work with any other agencies?
Absolutely.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
So other advertising agencies out of
We do. We work with digital agencies. We work with video crews. We do a lot of video. We do, you know, lots of different kinds of display ads. I mean, we have a lot that we do in-house because we've built a really expert team who can do a lot and have a lot of talent.
Yeah.
But there are also cases where some of our project base will stream up to, I mean, we do on average, it's going to be a little mind-blowing, but 400 projects a month on average that we'll do.
Wow.
And that can go up to
That's
seven.
that's a long status meeting, isn't it?
It's crazy, yes.
Like 2 days long.
I don't know how we manage that, but we do. And, obviously some are very small and some are quite large. But,
Sure.
We'll span up to 700 creative projects out in some months that we've got a lot of things going on. And we can't do all that ourselves. So we pull in folks when we have, peak times. We also do a little over 1,700 events every year.
Wow.
That's just in the U.S. and Canada. So we're, we've got a lot of events companies and folks that we work with through our events team as well.
So I'm sure that, like every other client, you get solicited a lot by agencies or other companies.
Yeah.
What do you find? Do you just delete all those because, or do you ever look at them, or
I do.
What gets noticed, because obviously there's agencies watching this, and that your business is so important to agencies. So how did they get to Jennifer?
Well, I guess I'm not the contact person.
Right.
So my recommendation would be is to do some networking and find out who within the team really owns and is responsible for that area of expertise that that agency has. Ewan Pigeon is obviously responsible for all of our creative work. Dennis Krupe runs our agency and runs all of the work that we do outside of Ingram Micro. There's other folks who have different responsibilities on the team, and everybody likes to come to me, so I get
Sure.
a lot of email every day, but I don't know what to do with all of that because I'm not the person necessarily making those decisions. And
Right.
so it would, I guess my recommendation would be do a little bit of research and find out who to connect with.
Yeah.
And then, and more often than not, you're going to connect in and with Ingram, and we've got a lot of work that we're doing. So.
Yeah, we had Michelle Van Slyke from the UPS stores on here, and she says sometimes she picks up the phone, but they know nothing about her business. They don't know that it's franchised, and there's no relevance.
Yeah.
You know what? And I think that's what you were trying to say is do the research. You have to have relevance. You have to have credibility, and then you can maybe get some traction.
It is, and in defense of all of those folks that are out there trying to pitch that business, I was there. I did that, and it's tough, and I think, it's tough just hearing no or having somebody hang up on you and all that good stuff. But
Yes.
I think spending the time to really do a little bit of background research will save so much time and headache in the front end.
Do you think this is kind of a stupid question because we know the answer, but is it easier or harder to be a marketer these days? I don't know how you can keep up with it. There's so many. I heard like technology tools or platforms. Like there's 7,500 of them that involve advertising,
it's
and
crazy.
So how do you is it harder for you, and how do you keep up with it?
I think it's a great question, actually. I don't know that it's harder or easier. It's definitely, there is a span of different tools and ways that you can do marketing. And so my view of it right now is sort of the old meets the new. So what I mean by that is, I mentioned storytelling, number
Sure.
one best practice for B2B, right? That's old. That's an
Sure.
old art. Right? And how, really understanding the customer is an old art, but it's being married with new when you introduce AI. We've been playing around with some AI to really understand who we're working with, what they care about, from a sentiment standpoint, and also aggregating all kinds of data that come at us from different databases and different points.
So
that we
AI.
really, so we understand. So that's new.
Yeah.
And then all this MarTech that's been created, that's the technology industry, at work here. We love to create tools, and I think, we're at a point where we're at sort of like that awkward teenage years of MarTech, There's so many of them out there, and some of them do different things, and it is difficult. Even the best companies are having a hard time choosing the right tools for the right practices. So my recommendation really is to understand what you're trying to achieve, and don't get overly, don't go all in on all the tools, because there's just a point where you can't manage it all.
Right.
It's better to actually use the tools that you have and really understand them before adding a lot more tools. And we've learned that the hard way. We had a lot of tools that we were using and different analytical tools, and we've kind of, pulled that back and just stayed focused on some ones that we're using and really make sure the team's trained and comfortable with using those things.
So, you market in Canada, you mentioned, in Mexico and Latin America. You're sitting in Orange County. How do you know the market nuances? Is it your people on the ground? Obviously in Canada, you have language differences. In Mexico, you've got Quebec and, different ways that people do business. So how do you step on that?
Well, yeah, you have great people who really know the markets. And, there was a phrase that was termed, I think it was McKinsey or one of the top analytical firms, it's called it glocal. So it's, how do you, glocal.
Glocal.
So it's global in really the scope of maybe an umbrella message and, your brand promise and what you're really trying to deliver out there, but you localize it and making sure that it connects with the markets locally that you're working with, and that there's also, back to relationships, understanding sort of who you're marketing to and what they care about most. And that isn't the same, even within a country, it's not the same, let alone across countries or across regions.
Sure. So how do you keep up with change when you're on the plane? Do you bring a suitcase of stuff to read, or how do you keep up with change?
It's I don't know that you ever do. I think it's just like work and life. It's a constant balance of understanding, what's new. I do a lot of reading. I talk to a lot of really great people and understand from their perspective what's happening, what fits well with our business. We have a great team who all bring, I'm a big believer in diversity of team, of people, and bringing in people from different perspectives, different points of view, that we're considering.
Diversity in what way?
In all ways, and diversity in terms of lots of women, lots of men, in terms of people from all different cultures, from different points of view, backgrounds, and having, a way to be able to build out our team so that, we're not all kind of thinking the same way, and encouraging our team to challenge each other and to, try new things. We've gone and failed a lot in trying new things, and we've also succeeded, tremendously. But just allowing that space for people to try things out and go for it is important.
Well, thanks for coming this morning. I've really learned a lot, and I appreciate you coming in, and it's great to catch up.
Thanks, Hank.
Okay.
It's always great to talk to you. Thank you.
Talk to you.